All righty, so I said we'd start promptly at 6, and according to my clock, it is time to go. So again, good evening and welcome to the NKU Admissions Student and Family Town Hall, tonight focusing on the academic major and career alignment. My name is Ryan Paget. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Enrollment and Student Success here at NKU, and I'll be serving as your moderator for this evening's event. We are pleased you are able to join us as we discuss the important alignment between your academic major and career aspirations. To give you a sense of this evening's agenda, we will begin by introducing all the representatives that are joining us here as panelists on the town hall, and they'll be here to answer any questions that you may have. Following the introductions, I will then provide just a brief presentation on NKU's reimagined fall semester, and then we're going to turn it over to you, because during that time, or after that time, I should say, you'll be able to ask any question to any of the panelists that you have. We're just going to ask you to please write those questions in the Q&A box. So along the bottom of your Zoom webinar, you'll be able to see some icons. We just recommend that you click on the Q&A. That'll pop open a box, at which time you'll be able to answer or ask any questions either during the presentation, during the session, or even if somebody's giving a response and you'd like to know a little bit more about what they were talking about or what they were alluding to. Feel free to go ahead and write that in. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and announce or allow everybody in the distinguished panel to introduce themselves. And I'm first going to start with Melissa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Gorbant, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions. Nice to meet you all this evening.
Charlisa.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Charlisa Daniels. I'm a faculty member in the chemistry department.
Suki.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dr. Suki Kim in the School of Social Work at NKU.
Excellent. Lisa.
Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa McElfresh, and I'm a career advisor and co-op manager in our career services office. And I'm excited to chat with you this evening.
Excellent. Nikki.
Good evening. I'm Nikki Lunsford. I am an NKU graduate 2009, and I work at Citibank.
Joshua.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Joshua Cooper. I'm in biology and also an NKU alumni 2005.
Lance.
Good evening, everyone. Lance Vaught, graduated from Northern in 2006 out of the College of Business, and I'm Senior Vice President, partner with Penn Station Restaurants.
Excellent. Christy.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Christy Hoffensberger. I'm a professor in the biology department and director of our environmental science program.
Frank.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Robinson. I am the director of Norse Advising, and I work in an academic advising office that supports our exploratory students. It's nice to be here.
Patrice.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrice Brooks. I'm a graduate from NKU in 2012, and I am a human resources manager for the Kroger Company.
Alina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alina Pilaeva. I am Director of Recruitment and Retention in Hale College of Business, and I also graduated from NKU in 2007 with my MBA.
And last but not least, Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Espinosa. I am also an alum from NKU twice in 2007 and in 2014 with my master's. I am also a national account manager for the largest spirit company in the world called Diageo. And I'm so happy to be here welcoming you to NKU.
Excellent. And we're going to have Maureen Doyle, who is the chair of computer science. She's actually in another meeting right now, and she'll be joining us as soon as that meeting ends. So if there's any College of Informatics or computer science questions you'd like to have, Maureen will be joining us very shortly. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our presentation. Again, this is just going to be a quick 3-slide presentation as it slowly comes up. Nope. I don't know what's going on there. Let's try this again. I don't know why it's not working now. That's all right. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. So Melissa, are you able to see this by chance?
I see your screen, yes.
Okay, but not there we go. Now can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta love the delay. All righty, there we go. So again, we just want to highlight real quickly the fall semester and what to expect as NKU will be going, as our president had alluded to, we're going back to the future. So again, we've covered this in a number of town halls, so we won't spend too much time on this, but I think it provides some of the context and a lot of the questions that we're getting from our incoming students. So the courses for the fall semester will be in person, will be online, and will also be offered hybrid. And so the way we're really looking at this is NKU will be the university you need us to be. So if you're looking for that traditional in-person, 5 classes in the fall, 5 classes in the spring in person, we're here for that. Others, we've heard from a lot of students who are working part-time or full-time and really like the hybrid and online classes. We can also be there for you with regards to that. So, but yes, we are getting a lot of questions of, will we be in person? Will there be in-person classes? And yes, there will be. The residence halls will be open, as well as we will be offering events and activities on campus. And while we will be on campus and faculty and staff will be on campus, we will still be providing student support services throughout the university virtually as well, because we know we want to make sure we're where our students are at. So if student wants to come in and meet with their advisor in person, we're there. If you want to just do a quick Zoom or a quick phone call and just want to meet with them virtually, we're there as well. And so with everything that we've learned through this pandemic, we really do have that renewed focus on providing a tech-enhanced, coordinated academic and social support network for you. So again, if you're looking to do student organizations, you want to go on campus into Campus Rec, we're there for you for that. Or if you still want to participate in a student organization and you want to participate virtually doing so, that's also going to be available to you. So that wraparound support that you've come to expect for NKU from an academic, social, financial, health, we're going to be able to be there virtually as well for you. So another question that we're getting quite frequently, and I want to make sure we clarify too, is that NKU is not requiring that students get COVID-19 vaccines. But if you are, they're going to be residing in university housing, we strongly recommend that. Obviously with roommates and some of the other being in close quarters, we are strongly recommending, but again, at this time, it is not required. Health services will continue to provide treatment and testing for common illnesses and injuries. So we do have our school nurses, but at the same time, they will be providing COVID-19 testing as well. And then our counseling services will continue to be there and provide therapy to students for a variety of mental health conditions, including anxiety, depression, and relationship issues. So again, our counselors will be there in person to meet, or will be there virtually as well through virtual meetings. Again, I just want to reiterate that we will be also providing support virtually. And again, when we are looking at this holistic coordinated care approach to supporting you, again, it's not just supporting you in the classroom, we also want to be supporting you outside the classroom. And we want to be there to help prepare you. And that's exactly what this session is going to be. This town hall is going to be. We're going to be looking at obviously what you're doing inside the classroom with your academic major, but how all that aligns and everything you need to be doing or could be doing to prepare for your career readiness and your next steps after you graduate. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And Melissa, if you could just tell me, are we back in Zoom where everybody can be perfect? All righty. Well, again, if you could just open up your Q&A, this is where you're going to have the opportunity to answer or ask any questions that you would like to our panel of alumni and faculty and staff. And please, any question at all. If you have a question about admissions, if you have a question about career services, maybe how to prepare or what to expect within the classroom. We have some of our distinguished faculty here that will be able to help with that, as well as what are some maybe skills or job skills that you need to be doing during your time that our alumni who can share some experience that they've had or what they're looking for as they're hiring students coming out of NKU. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just open it up to the panel. And maybe this is going more towards our advisors as well as our faculty. But this is a question we get all the time from our students, especially that we hear at orientation. So panel, I'll start off by asking, does the major I pick or the major that the student will pick, does it really matter? I know that's a very broad, but those are the questions we get. Does the major I pick really matter? Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk. So, I think that this is a good question. And there's a few layers to that question, but I'll try to answer it briefly. I think that, a lot of times our students do come into the university, sometimes with a major in mind and that they're really intending to do, and so certainly that might matter to that student. There's also times where students come into the university with a major in mind, but then as they start taking classes and they learn about the program or they learn more in depth about the career choice that they're interested in, they might find out, hey, maybe there's something else I'm interested in. So it's not uncommon for students to change majors, especially in that first year or even in the first 2 years. It's not uncommon for students to come in knowing exactly this is what I want to do, and they focus heavily on that and they graduate in that. So I think there's certainly options on both sides. So to the level of where it matters might really be an individual choice, but certainly students have flexibility in terms of their decision-making process. And we're certainly, we see students that meet with different advisors in different areas to learn their interests, especially in that first year, or depending on their background.
Perfect. And maybe I'll ask this, and I picked up on something Frank said there, and I'll ask this to our faculty members that are on our panel. So speaking personally as someone whose undergrad is I'm a psychology major with a bio minor, now working as a college administrator in education. Do you want to talk a little bit about how students coming in that are majoring in your fields, perhaps like, for example, in biology, not all biologists want to be doctors. A lot of our biologists go and look at a whole bunch of other different fields and how biology applies to their interests. So any faculty want to jump in and talk about how students coming in and studying in those courses or studying in those majors have opportunities outside those majors?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. In biology, and I think in the sciences too, Charlie, so you might chime in, but in the beginning, the first year or two, there's a lot of courses that are similar among the majors. And within our biology department, we have a lot of different tracks, and it's really easy to start pre-med and then get really excited about environmental science and switch your pathway and change that without skipping a beat, without losing time or taking classes that might not count to that major. But something that is really important in our department as well as making sure that students have well-rounded education, so that when you graduate, you might not, I talk to my advisees, you might not get your dream job right away, but you can do all these other things. And so like in environmental science, we focus on making sure that our students are really good at critical thinking and working with people from other disciplines and teamwork skills. And we put a big emphasis on honing those skills in our students, not just the knowledge content.
Absolutely. Yes, please, Alina, go ahead.
I can add if I may, yes. Yeah. So is a major, I'm going to come back to your question, Ryan, is the major, choosing your major in your first year or first semester, is it really important? I would say no, because for the first semester, it should be exploration. What does it mean? Maybe taking Business 101, that is introduction to business. Maybe taking whatever major that you're interested in, taking a class from that particular major. And usually we have so many foundation of knowledge classes that cover variety of topics, but maybe taking specific one, maybe introduction to nursing, introduction to biological sciences, introduction to business. That first semester is really, really important. And later on, deciding on what major you would like to pursue, that's when it becomes a little bit more important. I would say pursuing your passion, that's the most important. Not even looking at what jobs are out there. Yes, it's important too, but what makes you tick in a way, what sparks your interest, what sparks joy. That's what's important. And usually it comes a little bit later. I'm going to speak for the College of Business, or about College of Business majors for just less than a minute, I promise. So we have 12 different majors in the College of Business. So for the first 2 years, students are taking the same classes across the board. It gives you a lot of flexibility in what major to pick. And then by the end of the second year, that's when you have to make a decision about the major. And I think it's very similar to all the colleges that we have at NKU. We have a lot of flexibility. Of course, at some point, the decision must be made about the major, but by the second year, usually students kind of know at least a direction that they want to take after exploring many majors.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think one of the things we're going to pick up on throughout this evening's conversation is around passion. And really, regardless of the major you select, it's all about what you want to do with it afterwards and the passion that you're going to follow. So I know Kathy raised her hand and would like to contribute as well. So Kathy?
Yeah, as an alumni point of view, I always love to give my personal experiences in these kind of panels because people can relate to them. When I started college, I was going to be an accountant because my dad wanted an accountant in the family, and it was a lot of pressure, family pressure of him saying, you know, think you're going to be a great accountant. And on my second class of accountant, I said, I will never be an accountant. So I changed my career, my degree right away, almost under my second semester. And I finished as in management, basically, a business management degree. And once I graduated, I actually went to work for Kroger, completely fell in love with retail and did that for about 10 years in multiple capacities, started in the stores. Then I became an analyst. From then I was a category manager and in a global sourcing manager. Today, I actually manage about 1/3 of the country in sales and for spirits. And one of the funniest things is that now I manage the P&L, which is the profit and losses, and the budget for what I do. So I kind of went full circle on something that I was like, I don't really want to do that. But I guess what I want to share with my story is that although it wasn't what I really thought one day I will be doing, you know, life took me there, but it made me stop in multiple places. And the coolest thing about it is that my preparation at NKU allowed me to have the right background for all the different jobs that I have done. By all means, I could tell you that when I graduated college, I never thought that my career was going to take the path that it has today. But I'm just glad that my foundation was there from NKU to make sure that I was successful in whichever job I took. So I think I wanted to add that.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And I've had the good fortune to get to hear Kathy give a keynote to all our first year students and got to hear some of her story. And what she really alluded to is about the connections she made on campus and the experiences she had made on campus and how that all builds up. And I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about that throughout this evening as well. So again, I've seen more attendees continue to trickle in. So I just want to remind everybody that if, again, along the bottom of your Zoom, you're going to see your Q&A icon. So feel free to bring that up and you'll be able to ask any of the panelists a general question that you may have, or maybe a specific question. And one of the questions that's come in, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa to talk a little bit about this and allow anybody else to jump in. So Lisa, what year do internships start and how are students matched into those internships?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at NKU, we don't have a formalized internship plan in most of our majors. Now, some of them are a little bit different, but it is major dependent. And so instead, we encourage you to start interning early. So as early as your second year, definitely by your third year. And we don't do a placement with those. So it's not a thing where you come and say, hey, I want one, and I look down my Rolodex and pick one for you. Instead, we work with you to help you find an internship that you're interested in. And so we have a database where we post those positions so that everybody has equal access to find those. We host a variety of career fairs. And so we also have career advisors that you can come in and meet with and talk about that search. And so then you complete your internship and you're welcome to do more than one. We would encourage you to try out some different things to see what you like and what you dislike about a position or a place or the environment where you've had the opportunity to do that internship or co-op.
Oh, please, Nikki, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's great. NKU certainly provides resources and advocates for you to help identify those. But I also encourage you that if you're starting to build relationships or build a network within the industry that you're pursuing, I also always encourage empowerment to try and identify the internship opportunities on your own as well. And so I know early on in I had changed my major twice, Kathy, as well. So sometimes it's figuring out what you don't want to do versus figuring out what you do want to do. But once I had identified my major and had actually made a with somebody that had a similar major to me from NKU, they had never done an internship before and they piloted one off of me. So I always say, just be bold, be curious, have those conversations with folks that maybe your friends know, your parents know, or your family members know. NKU, of course, is super supportive, but I was able to find somebody that was willing to pilot. So it's always a no until you ask, right? And so just feel empowered in those moments. People want to help.
Absolutely. Suki.
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, please.
I believe the question is so relevant to the social work education that we do have a field education office in our program. So the social work program for undergraduate level, we have two phases. One is the acceptance to the NKU for general foundational program and acceptance to the campus. But also afterward, that they are applying for BSW program, we have a different process once you are accepted to the NKU campus. But the field education office will help you step by step how to navigate and how to connect to the field placement. There are historically developed agency informations, and based on your interest, the population you want to work with, and the agency type. So we have a great resource already in place to connect you to the community. So once you declare major as a social work education, and we as a faculty and the field director, we're closely working with you step by step.
Absolutely. Alina, go ahead, please.
I always have something to add.
No, you're good. Please go ahead.
So I'm going to speak from the College of Business point of view. And we have, again, 12 different majors. 2 of them require co-op or internship upon graduation or before graduation. So students cannot graduate with a county degree in construction management major, I should say, without completing some kind of co-op or internship experience. For the rest of the majors in the College of Business, we strongly encourage students to complete some kind of internship or co-op. Usually it's internship, and it usually counts. I would say 99% of the time it counts for the class credit for an elective in that particular major. So upon graduation, students are done with an elective and with their internship, and usually the job leads them into the full-time, or internship leads them into the full-time job. Coming back to what Lisa said, yes, we do have career services, wonderful resources that are provided there, but they cater to all the students at NKU in almost every college. So again, I'm going to speak from the College of Business point of view. We have a career path coach in the College of Business that actually sits down with every single student if they choose to meet with them, and they talk to them about their resume, their LinkedIn, their just everything, anything that students need to cover in that particular moment. And the question was, how early can you start? As early as freshman. I would say start interning freshman, sophomore, senior, junior, senior, all of the years, if you can do that. Absolutely. And we have all the resources to help you with that.
Absolutely. Kathy. Oh, Kathy, there you go.
Yeah, it wouldn't kick in right away. I was somebody that did 2 internships as well during my time at NKU. And the thing that Alina just said resonates with me a ton. I actually did find my first internship through the Career Development Service. And I wish I would have started earlier. I wish I would have started my research, as early as my freshman year. My internships were phenomenal. One of them actually had a scholarship component to it, and it was tailored for minorities. And it was awesome that I was able to find that. But, have I known about these early, I probably would have done that a couple of times and taken advantage of it. And my first internship sent me to my second internship. So basically, if you do a good job, the opportunities start coming to you as well. But the biggest thing I'll say from the opposite side, because I also came back as a recruiter to NKU for my former organization to find interns, is one of the biggest things that we will find out is that by the time they would apply for the internships, it wouldn't be too late. They will come and ask, hey, when does your internship start for me as a junior? And we'll be like, oh, like we actually already, had those. So it is really important that you start as early as you can, so that at least in your first year, you kind of get your feet wet of understanding what are the timelines for the organizations that you want to get into, like when do these internships get posted and all of these different things. And a huge tip that I will put out there is that most organizations will have a way to set up a search, and that will come into your phone, into your email, already telling you what opportunities you have. I will do that like as soon as you walk in order to understand the timelines of these places and when they require interns. And then that also allows you to make a best decision out of those internships, because sometimes people have the concern about like, well, I need to work. Are these paid or not paid? There's a bunch of them that actually are paid. But, going back to what somebody mentioned earlier too, take ownership of it so that you can, select the best opportunities that you may have.
Thank you, Kathy. Patrice?
Yeah, so speaking from someone who did not have an internship, I highly recommend it. I'll tell you guys, it was very hard and stressful to get a position in my career. It took me almost 3 years before I was actually receiving looks on my resume to get into my career of human resources. So I highly suggest do an internship as soon as you can. I can tell you specifically with Kroger, one thing that we like to do whenever we have interns come in is we do a rotation. So if you come in as a sophomore, we like to bring you back as a junior and a senior and even send you to different sites. So you could be at one distribution center here in Cincinnati, but then next year you could be in Bluffton, Indiana, and you could be doing a rotation there. So definitely start as early as possible just so that you can get that experience under your belt. And then also you can speak to that when you're going out to interview for positions after you graduate.
Excellent, thank you. And Lance?
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Hey, I thought I would just jump in as more of a smaller employer point of view, as many of the participants have worked for large organizations. And in this question, I embody all phases of that. I went through an internship at NKU. I created it myself. And now the guys that started this little company, we're partners together and really just to inspire the group a little bit. And that internships aren't always with Fortune 500 companies. In fact, a lot of small businesses, in particular in this region, utilize internships because students bring something to the company. So it's not just what can the company do for you, but companies like Penn Station, we look for what can the intern do for us, in particular, as it relates to technology, et cetera. So I wouldn't leave any stone unturned, and I wouldn't think that it has to be a large company to fit in. And in particular, it might be an opportunity for you to get in and move up faster, as small employers need interns too. Thanks, Ryan.
No, that's a great point. And one of the things I really kind of want to stay on this topic a little bit and expand it out just a little bit more too. We're talking a lot about internships and some co-ops, and I want to turn it over to our faculty because there's a whole bunch of other things inside the classroom that also provide these hands-on, or what we like to call experiential learning experiences. So for example, there's undergraduate research, which is something I did for a few years when I was an undergraduate rather than an internship. I spent a few years with a faculty member in their lab, and I was getting that hands-on experience as well. So do any of the faculty want to kind of jump in and talk about some of the things inside the classroom as well that also prepare you for a career or career alignment?
I would love to answer to those great experiential learning opportunity. In fact, this week, we are doing an online celebration for research and creativity. The students are doing it. Celebration start tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow that we are going to wrap up for 2 days event this week. And two opportunities. One is that actually your class that really embedded into the experiential learning, doing by serving community or any type of a research project through your course assignment or requirement, that you have a great opportunity to develop your interested research topic with your faculty and instructors. And also you will be able to present your study and the outcome on campus, that we do have a great platform for you to demonstrate what you learn and what is your learning outcome on campus, like this week. Second part of the opportunity for you is that a lot of faculty bring the funding for students learning and experiential learning, so that you will be able to closely working with the faculty and be a research assistant for the project. That is a great way to learn about how to conduct research, and also the gaining the experiential learning through the project where you wanted to explore a little bit more with the faculty. So early enough when you are in the program, let you know to the faculty members what your interests are. You never know what kind of opportunity will be on your way, but you have to ask and then consult with your faculty and anybody in the program, because we remember your name once you are admitted, because that's one of the things that we are really proud of as a NKU faculty and staff and anybody on campus. So I strongly encourage you to let the people know who you are, what your interests are. There will be a lot of opportunity, research assistantship, and also the learning experiential learning opportunity through the coursework, and also beyond opportunity is waiting for you.
And Suki, I think you mentioned something that's really critical as well, because obviously when you're heading out in your senior year and you're starting to look at jobs, and let's say there's letters of recommendation that may need to take place either for a job or for graduate school. That letter of recommendation, is it going to come from someone who sits in the back of the class and never did anything outside of just attending class, or someone who was working closely with the faculty member or was engaging with them in research or going to office hours and engaging them in that capacity? And I think we know the answer to that. So it really is important that you're able to take what you're doing inside the classroom and apply it, as Suki was talking about, but also making sure you make those connections within the classroom as well. So Charlisa, I see that you have your hand. You'd like to contribute as well.
Sure, yeah, I just want to talk about the length of these experiences. So there's a wide variety of lengths that you can also participate in. So for instance, in our instrumental class, which is a chemistry class that looks at the instruments that different chemists use, they have half of the semester is devoted to this research experience. So the students can pick an instrument or pick a matrix, pick a sample, something that they want to study, and maybe they want to use many different instruments to study that one sample, or maybe they just want to use one instrument to study a sample. And so that is 7-8 weeks of their semester, as opposed to doing like a 10-week summer research stint, right, with a faculty member. We also will promote for students to go outside. There are NSF, National Science Foundation sponsored research experiences that take place at summers at other campuses. So campuses like Rice or University of Kentucky or wherever else, will get yourself a little bit of experience outside of NKU. We love you here at NKU, but you can also go somewhere else, right? So go somewhere else and experience science somewhere else. You can do research over the year, over the academic year, so something a little more longer term. And I've also had students, I have a student who has done research with me since our first year, and she's graduating this year. So 4 years with little old me, she decided that she was going to have that 4-year experience with me. So you can have many different experiences, and they can be of different lengths. And so I want you to think about that too, because you can experience a bunch of different viewpoints of whatever you think your career wants to be, right? And try to get as many different hands-on experiences as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Joshua.
Hey, everybody. So I think being an alumni of NKU, I think I've always thought about careers. And so I've really turned my microbiology class into a careers focused course that I teach you skills and techniques that get you a job right out of undergraduate. You don't need any kind of post training. You can get a master's degree, but you don't need one. If I can teach you the sort of hand skills, eye coordination, sort of how to logically work through information, that's what gets you a job in an interview. You can logically work through a question they might offer you. And so sort of focusing some of our classes about career competencies, sort of focusing on how do we get you a job after this. I tell almost all of my students, every class that you take, regardless of what you sign up for, think about how that class might get you a job doing something. How could it broaden your participation in something that someone else might not have, like learning a language or learning some more mathematics? How might that give you an edge over someone else? So those are sort of things I think that NKU really allows you to do.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Christy.
Thanks. I just wanted to briefly elaborate on what Suki mentioned about service learning courses. I know that a lot of departments offer that on campus. In the environmental science program, we really pride ourselves on that, and almost all of our upper level courses have a service learning component. But what that really means for students is that instead of the professor saying, write a semester paper or do this semester project for your grade, the students are paired with community organizations to create an output or a product in environmental science that can look like a lot of different things, even building a rain garden somewhere. But the students are working side by side all semester. So they're building their network. And I tell them that and remind them that regularly. These can be reference writers for you. These can be connections for internships, for careers, for jobs, and that project they did is an item on their resume. It's not a semester project. It is, I created this for this organization and they used it. And so, and I know that happens all over campus, and that's something that I think we're really good at doing at NKU, is offering those opportunities for students.
Absolutely, it's a great point. And
I would love to add that this is a very important part, that this week also we celebrate for the experiential learning service week. And we as NKU, actually, we have a national model to give experiential learning opportunity for our students. Everyone welcome to do that. We have a very, very distinguished office doing and operating and coordinating for the Mayerson project, which we identify as experiential learning. A lot of different community engaged project coming through that course and connecting with especially different courses in a different major. So they are easy to identify the Mayerson teaching course instructors on campus. There are a lot of them on campus. So we needed to let you know that the NKU having a national model for experiential learning for our students as well.
Thank you, Suki. Excellent. And Frank. Oh, Frank, you're muted.
Sorry, I just wanted to touch on 3 really quick things that connect back to several points that were made. I know we've thrown around the term co-op and internship quite a bit. So just in case, a co-op is usually a paid position and an internship can be paid or non-paid. So I just wanted to clarify that just in case. The second thing that I wanted to really touch on was just that you heard a theme tonight of really starting early. And I think that it's really important that students do think about that from freshman year on. One strategy I would also recommend is that if you have some careers in mind, maybe look at job descriptions that exist for those careers, look at the skills that they're looking for, and use your 4 years to build those skill sets. That could be a really good strategy in terms of thinking about things that you can really build so that when you come out, you meet a lot of those descriptions because you've worked at building those. A lot of students don't think about thinking, on the back end and working their way towards it, but that can be a really good thing to think about. And then lastly, I would just say that, one of the things in the original question was about matching. Lisa touched on this, but just we have several online resources that exist for students through our career services. And again, like you can post resumes, connect with employers and match. And so there's ways to find match yourself up to employers and employers to be able to view a resume information. So there's a lot of really good resources that exist online to really support our students. So I definitely want to encourage people to check out the career services website.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue before we get to our next question from one of our participants is, Lisa, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if they do go to the career services website, you want to share just some high level, some of the information or resources they'll be able to find on that website?
Yeah, that's excellent. So the Career Services website hosts information for students, alumni, parents, employers. And so most of you would want to click on the Students tab. And then once you do that, you'll be able to look at career planning. And so we have different resources such as, what can I do with my major? And so if you're thinking, I want to be a biology major, but I don't want to be pre-med, what else could I do with that? Then you could look at that resource to see what are some of the different career options that are related to those majors. We also have Focus 2, which is an online assessment that you can take, which allows you to look at your skills, values, interests, and then it aligns those with different careers and majors, as well as other resources within career planning. We then have a job prep side, and that assists with thinking about, how do I find a co-op or internship? Where do I begin with my resume or my cover letter? We've got guides on interviewing and job search. And so it provides great links and tools for you in terms of thinking about your next step in your job search. And that's where you would find a link to Hire NKU, which is that online jobs database that we've mentioned a couple of times.
All righty, thank you, Lisa. So we did have a question that came through, and I guess, Melissa, you may be the best. If not, we can maybe ask Lisa to also jump in. To be honest, I don't know who I'm going to frame this question to, but I'll just open it up. Do I need to make a separate NKU account from student account to apply for work study jobs at NKU? And maybe you want to talk a little bit about what exactly work study jobs are.
Sure, Ryan, I can handle that question. So NKU offers many opportunities to work on campus. We have two different options. One is federal work study. So students that submit the free application for federal student aid may be considered for federal work study. And then we have institutional work study, which means we have a certain part of our budgets in the offices that we can hire institutional work study. We have a little under 2,000 jobs on campus for student workers. There is no separate NKU account. You're actually submitting an application to be considered for a job on campus. Jobs.nku.edu will host all student work study jobs that are available on campus. I really encourage students that will be working while they're in school. And about 80% of our students typically work 15 to 20 hours or more while they're in school. So we want to help you balance that. And I think what I love about our work study jobs on campus is on our campus, we know you're a college student first. We're going to be a separate family and a cheerleading team for you to get through your undergraduate experience. We know when finals are happening. We know when midterms are happening. You're not able to work when you should be in class. We're going to make sure that you're staying on track to begin registration for the next semester. I've written many letters of recommendations for students going to grad school, for a co-op or an internship, and they start working with us maybe as a freshman, and we celebrate their graduation 4 years later. So I love the opportunities on campus. In admissions, you can be a tour guide. You can make phone calls for us. You can work in as a peer coach. You can work in our library, our computer labs. I would say our campus rec area is the most popular place to work. So you want to make sure that you look quickly for those jobs, and don't get discouraged if you don't find placement your first semester. Sometimes by their second semester, you've got the right contacts on campus to help you find that job within an office or facility on campus. I really encourage it, and it's a nice way to balance. The check comes to you. It does not go towards your tuition. So it's some nice spending money for you, and it definitely gives you what we were talking about. You gain all kinds of skills on your resume for your work study job. I can tell you one of my favorite students right now is graduating with digital marketing on her resume from her experience from NKU. She's got great communication skills. She's done a lot of work for us in Excel and Access. She has done a lot of work in event planning. So as Frank mentioned, all the skill sets that you want to develop all throughout that can be done through a work study job on campus as well.
And it's important when you're applying for those jobs, especially as a first-year student, because you are competing with our sophomore, juniors, and seniors for those jobs, that you have a strong resume and cover letter. And so again, on our website, we give you advice for kind of changing that high school level resume and upping it to a collegiate level to showcase those skills and experiences that you have. But it's very important that you put time in to make sure that you have a customized, strong resume and cover letter to showcase those skills and experiences.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lisa, for providing that as well. And thank you, Melissa. So I'm going to go ahead and put our alumni on the spot with a question, and then I'm going to give them a little time to think about it, because I'll give a quick anecdote as it relates to it. So I'll ask, again, we have some distinguished alumni sitting here, and obviously in various positions and various fields here within the tri-state area. And so I would ask them, especially when you're looking at new employees come in, or perhaps you're hiring some employee or some students coming out of NKU or anywhere else, I would like to ask, what are some of the skills that you're looking for that students would be able to demonstrate to you, either through their resume or skills that you're looking for students coming right out of college? And I'll give you a little bit of an anecdote as you think about that. So I did my PhD at the University of Iowa, and at the University of Iowa, they have one of the largest med schools and actually the largest medical hospital for a university. And I think it was either my last or second to last year of my program there. There was quote unquote controversy, because there was this large discussion going on within the city, because the medical school actually denied a student entry into the medical school, had like a 4.0, did really, really well on their MCATs, by all accounts, academically very strong, would easily make it into just about any med school. And the medical school came out and said, well, the reason in terms of some of the discussions they were having was, we're looking for students that are well-rounded. This student had nothing else basically on their resume. Basically was a student that was just sitting in the library studying, but had no other things to demonstrate that they would kind of fit within the program that they were looking for. They were talking a little bit about how they were expecting medical students to be able to balance things inside and outside the classroom because that's what you're doing in med school. So I'll turn it over to our alumni. So again, we could have students sitting in a class or sitting in the library doing really, really well, but there's some other things that you probably are looking for as hiring agents out there to see in our students. And so what are some of those things and recommendations you'd have for our students?
I'll go. So I work for a Citibank in Florence, Kentucky. It is financial services. It is a bank, but we are not your typical branch bank. We are primarily a call center with over 2,000 employees. So I can't speak for the others on the call, but I know for us, one of the things that we look at is what skills do you have that are transferable? We have over 28 different functions that can be supported, whether it's entry-level jobs, middle management, senior leadership, individual contributor, perhaps you're managing a team, a wide array, right? And so what are those skills that could allow for you to not only enter Citi to be successful in your initial position, but then making it a career? I've been with Citi for 16 years and have had 4 different jobs. And so the opportunities are huge, but one thing that I found that's helped me be successful in all of them are the skills that are transferable. So no matter what job I was holding, it created opportunities for me to either move forward or be successful in the current role. And one of them that stands out to me is really your soft skills. When you think about effective communication, whether it's written and or verbal, that is something I think in most careers and most industries that can really, really benefit you. And so I know for me, I'm a little partial because I was a public relations major, so communications is something near and dear to my heart. But I do think that if verbal and or written communication skills is something that you can really work on, practice interviewing, right? Whether it's with your friends or your family members, leverage your resources to also practice writing, whether it's memos or emails, take etiquette classes for those things. You'd be surprised how many emails come across my computer that I'm like, did you edit that? So I would just encourage you to, 1, think about transferable skills, and 2, one of them that comes to mind as an example is communication.
Excellent, thank you, Nikki. And then Lance, I see you have your hand up if you want to jump on in.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Hey, smaller employer, but I'll paint just a very brief picture for our students when they get out into the real world. Your greatest advantage is your youth, and your greatest advantage right now is your time. And while some of us start families right out of college or maybe in before you get out of school potentially, you have the ability just to immerse yourself. And I agree a lot with what others have said here is the soft skills, but just the ability to stick with something. Right? Because lives get busy. And when you're able to 100% focus on your career, that's what I want. I want somebody that wants to come in and while they're young and just give me 110%. And if you guys do that on a day in, day out basis, whatever your major was, whatever your GPA was, that only matters during the interview process. Once you get the first job, then it becomes all about you. And if you can get up in front of a crowd, if you can see a process through, and if you can work with others. Believe it or not, if COVID has taught us one thing, it's that we need to work together, and not only when it's easy, but when it's more difficult. And I've made, I guess, 7 NKU hires now over the years, straight out of the College of Business, that most are still within the organization. And I think Northern does a great job of that. It prepares you to work with others, and that's critical for us. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Lance. Kathy.
For me, like that question has come out many times. I do participate in these things with Olina and a bunch of other stuff, but I will say that in the last few years, my answer would have changed. I think about nowadays, I think about somebody that's, and I like to call it scrappy, and meaning somebody that can really adapt and change and be welcome to go the extra mile to do something. It goes a long way with our organization, because what I've noticed now as we move forward at least in my career, what I've seen is that organizations are getting leaner and leaner and leaner and leaner. And one of the things that I see is that those people that are willing to overextend themselves outside of what their regular job is perform better than those that don't. And what that allows them to do, it's also to understand more about other departments, cross-functionally work better, and help them further their career. But what does that look like at NKU or for you? That looks like you being very involved. That looks like you getting to participate in whether they're educational clubs or sports, intramural sports or anything like that, that allows you to learn how to interact with people from different aspects of your social life that are not equal to each other. It also allows you to learn how to manage your time skills and allows you to become scrappy for yourself, which is your school comes first, but everything else you get scrappy to make sure that all comes together. A few years back, I would have agreed. One of the biggest things in my head is emotional intelligence, being able to relate to the other people that you're working with. So I completely agree with the stuff that my two counterparts said earlier. Communication is key. Being able to, really focus on what you want to accomplish, it's key. But for me right now, being scrappy, having the desire of doing more and helping others, I've just seen that trait become so key and so important that that's something I hone in now much more than before, how willing people are to overextend themselves to do something outside of what their normal job is.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kathy. And Patrice?
Yeah, so as an HR manager, one of the things that most people expect us to say is technical skills, but that's actually not it. We can teach you that. We can teach technical skills all day. The hard part is, like everyone else said, adapting to change, working together as a team, being able to communicate. Those are the skills that are super important for you to really nail down right now while you're in college and you're making those connections. Working as a team is huge for us in supply chain, just because there's so many different sectors. You have to work with many different people, whether it's the finance team, it's operations, it's HR, just really being able to build those relationships and be able to work together is probably one of the biggest things that we look for. And then also just being able to adapt to diverse backgrounds. That is super important as well, especially where I work at in supply chain. There's people of many different backgrounds, ages, disabilities. There's all different demographics. So I would say being able to work with those diverse backgrounds as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, alumni. So I'll just make a kind of a couple of quick final announcements, and then I'm going to turn it over for another question to our panel. So we have a few minutes left. So again, if you have any questions you'd like to ask specifically to a panel member or to the panel as a general, please go ahead and open that Q&A box and go ahead and type it in here in the next few minutes. While we wait for that and I turn it over for some of the last questions, I would like to make a quick announcement that one of our last town halls we're almost at the end of the spring semester, which is it's amazing. The blink of an eye, we're heading into May on Saturday, is on this Thursday. We are gonna have another town hall, and based by the RSVPs that have already started to come in, it's gonna be one of our most popular. And it is going to be an hour spent with an honest conversation with our students. A lot of questions around how to get involved, what can you do on campus, and the opportunity to engage directly with the students to hear from them, their recommendations, what they would strongly encourage you to do as first-year students coming in, and they're going to get to share their experiences. We're really excited to get to moderate that and let them kind of have a voice with you directly. And you'll be able to ask any questions that you have directly to our students. We think it's going to be a fascinating conversation. We're really looking forward to that this Thursday. So again, if you're interested in that, please RSVP. I know the emails have gone out and we'll send another one here in the next day or so, but strongly encourage you to attend that. And so with that, I'm going to open it up for just a high level question for anybody on the panel that wants to jump in. So, we've been talking a lot about that kind of major selection. We spent a lot of time on the experiences to prepare for their career afterwards and everything in between. So knowing that we've covered major and career, if anybody wants to jump in with one little nugget they want to make sure that the attendees get to leave with, is there something that we didn't cover today? You're like, I really wish I would have they really would have heard this, because I think it would have been very important as they are either deciding to attend NKU or transitioning into their first year here in the next few months. So I'll open it up to the panel to help us close it out. Frank, go ahead, please.
I would just really encourage the students that are considering NKU to really seek out people, whether that's seeking help or just quite simply seeking connections. I think one of the things that could be the most valuable is the building relationships with advisors, with people in various support offices, with other students, student organizations. Just be really not afraid to test the waters and try that out and see if you can meet new people. That could be one of the best resources to finding new opportunities, to really feeling connected. And what I find is that a lot of students sometimes are a little shy or afraid or nervous or anxious about their first year, especially. And so, so just trying to be a little bit brave and trying to go out there to do that, because the more students who do that, I think tend to find a lot more of those relationships that can help support them through the rest of their time. So that would just be one nugget I would really like to throw out there.
Thank you, Frank. And Lance.
Yeah, I guess for those that are on the fence, because I was a late enrollee to NKU, and it was probably the best decision that I ever made. In fact, I was set to go to another university, and fate had me at Northern. And here's what I would say. Ryan, you've done a great job with this, but I've been involved fairly heavily with the university over the last 4 years. And the passion that the faculty has for the students is unlike anything I've ever experienced across the board. And I think those of you on the fence, you're really not on the fence. You need to sign up and you need to come to the university. But it doesn't stop when you leave your faculty. I'm impressed with the alumni around the city as well and in the region. And I think we've got 60,000 or so alumni now at this point, most of which live within 100 miles. So it won't stop after you get through your 4 year. It really becomes a commitment for life. So I think you know what decision to make.
Excellent. Thank you, Lance.
I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon to advocate for those that are excited to start Northern and for those that are on the fence. As somebody who knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to Northern, I'll have to be honest, it wasn't because I was excited to go to Northern. I was still living at home, I was commuting, and I was working full time. But I can honestly say that it was the best thing I ever did. All of the accomplishments and successes that I've had, I owe to Northern, truly. Through the relationships I built with my advisors as well as my professors. I actually just went on a mission trip a couple years ago with a professor, a big group of us. So it was amazing how the connections kind of resurface. It's really got that small community feel. However, the resources are so vast. And so you really do get the best of both worlds in that sense. I think that one thing I've seen continue to grow and grow is not only the opportunities, but the pride behind the students at Northern and the faculty as well. And so I'm just really, really thankful and honored to be a part of NKU's story, and hope that we become a part of your story as well, fellow alumni and the faculty as well. So I'm going to just say it. Welcome to NKU.
Love hearing it. Absolutely love hearing it. Christy.
I just wanted to say as a faculty member that it is so genuine. We are so excited for you to come to NKU and to work with us. As faculty, we choose to be at NKU because we care so much about our specific student body. They're amazing. You're amazing. We can't wait to have you in our classes. And it doesn't stop when you graduate. We are always a resource for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Kathy, I'm going to let you have the final comment. So go ahead and take us home.
Thank you. What I want to say is, I love hearing Nikki's story because I could not be the most opposite to that. And I want to share that with you. I moved to this country when I was 18 years old, fresh out of Mexico. I knew nobody in the area. I had no friends in the area. There was no mom and dad close by. So to tell you that I was like scared, it won't even cover it. I mean, I was scared to the biggest point you can imagine. But the two things that for me were so critical and that I want you to learn and remember from what I say today is network, meet as much people as you can and network as hard as you can, because that's going to help you not just in college, but all the way through. Just like Nikki just said that she went into this trip with somebody with a professor from NKU, all of that is that networking. The second thing is learn your resources quick, because NKU, like they keep telling you, has so many things. One of the things that I remember dearly to my heart is going to the learning center, to have somebody review my papers because English wasn't my first language. I struggled with a bunch of different things, and there was always somebody to help me. The coolest thing that I see now from NKU is the progress that has happened in the last years. And all of that is a result of the hard work that the faculty does, the alumni does, and the community do. And what that shows you is that all of us are committed to your success. So if you are in the fence, just know that if you make the decision to come along with us, you're not coming along just with a bunch of your students or a bunch of your family members. You're really coming along with all of us, all the people here, every alumni, because every single one of us continue to do these events and these kind of things to let you know that NKU is a place for you. I was a story that wasn't supposed to happen. I tell people that all the time. I was a story that wasn't supposed to happen. And the reason it happened is because NKU gave me so many opportunities that can give them to you. So I'll end with that. I get so emotional when I tell my story.
It's a fantastic one. And hearing everything from our alumni, I think, Melissa, if you have 4 positions you need to hire, I know 4 alumni, that'd be fantastic to be in our admissions office and continue to support our students, that's for sure. So thank you, alumni, and thank you everybody for sharing your thoughts, especially those nuggets as we head out. So real quick, Melissa, do you want to provide any other updates? We know Saturday's a very important date coming up, but is there anything else you'd like to share from the Office of Admissions?
Thank you, Ryan. And thank you again to our alumni and faculty and staff for helping us tonight. May 1 is big day. It's decision day for college. So we are working with families for them to show their pride for becoming an NKU member of our family. So on May 1st, we're going to celebrate all those that have confirmed their enrollment. If you've confirmed your enrollment, make sure you're keeping an eye on your email to choose your orientation day. We are doing a half day in person and a virtual option you can choose. And we're also celebrating by offering some yard signs for Norse Pride that you can put in your yard as you celebrate your high school graduation. So we've got several of those available around the area, Lexington, Louisville, Greater Cincinnati. I want to thank Olena and Ryan because they're helping us on Saturday. We've got about 100 students coming by to pick up their yard signs. So parents, if you're on the call, your son or daughter is getting information about this, so have them check their email. We'd love to help celebrate their May 1 as Decision Day, and welcome to Norse Nation. We're so glad you're part of our community.
Yes, thank you so much, Melissa. And again, I want to extend first the thanks to all the attendees that came to this evening's town hall. We love being able to engage with you and answer any questions that you may have and sharing the experiences. I think that's a big thing you saw throughout today was just the impact that NKU not only has on the region, but on the individuals that get to interact with our amazing university. So we want to thank you for coming. Again, I would love to thank again the panel from alumni, faculty, staff, everyone who, again, I think this shows it, right? The dedication we have to our students with the town halls and the time that they gave to give back to our students. Again, thank you so much for everything that you do. And with that, we will conclude tonight's town hall. We hope to see everyone on Thursday, but more importantly, we hope to see you here on campus in the fall. And with that, we will say good night and good night, Norse Nation. Thank you so much.